hemorrhaged me. Alright, I guess I'll just get into it.
Oh, sorry, I don't know.
Nah, it's cool.
I don't know.
We'll just start off the bat.
I mean,
I got nothing to say about hemorrhaging, okay? You're sure, aren't you? I am.
I whispered quietly. Okay. At that exact moment, I truly loved Lena. I wanted to hold her tighter and never let her go. And she felt the same. Of course.
Of course,
Of
yeah.
course, why wouldn't
of
she?
course.
Everything that happened between us literally only a couple of hours ago flashed before my eyes, and I felt shivers up my spine. Horrifying.
Did I do the nasty? Oh. How can one single human cope with so many opposing personality traits?
Just ask Henry.
What's that supposed to mean, huh? Excuse me?
I
Might
can't
it be
believe
that-
you would say that.
How could you?
I don't know how much time I spent just watching Lena sleeping. Finally, she awakened.
Good morning.
It's night. Lena smiled tenderly.
Come here.
Get away from me. She rose and hugged me. I didn't resist and plopped down on the bed.
Now you watch me while I sleep. Wanna do it again?
She asked playfully.
Hold on. Hold on.
I moved her away gently.
Oh. You know, all of this is anything but simple.
Oh.
When we just... oh, going that way. Just a few answers to a few questions. Later, it's time to depart.
She interrupted me impassively.
What? Where are we going? What do you mean where? Back to town, of course. But you told me. Well, I might have withheld something. In fact, I persuaded Olga that we still had some extremely urgent matters here and will come later. That's right, I skipped her last name, I'm sick of it. You know,
I interrupted her at last.
I still don't understand. What exactly?
She smiled.
How come you could be so hesitant, so humble at first, unable to string two words together, and then... like this? Is it that important? Yes, for me it is. You see, I've always been the way you saw me the first time we met. I was like that in public. I wasn't able to live as I wanted to since childhood, so I put on a mask. Can I be sure you won't turn into that one again? You won't retreat into your shell, won't surrender to your anger and rage? That depends on you. You make me bitchy, I'm gonna be bitchy.
It pissed me off and you're going down.
Don't get me miffed, you hear? I'll
Just
deck you in the face if you make me. But still, why did you hit Eliza?
She looked at me closely with a serious expression on her face.
I always hated that bitch.
Lena laughed loudly and nuzzled into my shoulder.
Oh no, oh no.
Jeez, oh god.
Wake up.
Grab her, but she put a little makeup.
Why'd you leave the keys upon the table?
Consciousness slowly returned to me. You wanted to. Aw,
Wow.
that's adorable. Your tatas are hanging out, though. I opened my eyes.
You'll sleep through your whole life like that.
Lena looked at me seriously.
What? We're there already? Where's there?
I looked around. A bench, the square, Ginda. But how? I was on the bus going to the district centre.
Yesterday. Yesterday?
I've never heard of that before.
Yes, yesterday. Don't you remember?
Lena started thinking.
Yesterday? I don't remember anything like that. So, how much time have I spent here?
Lena started to count off on her fingers.
Looks like 7 days.
What a prankster.
Not 8? It's 7. Definitely 7.
One may think it's strange, and that's exactly how it seemed to me. But eventually we reached the district center. I eventually got tired in the bus and fell asleep. When I woke up, I ran up and down the aisle of the bus, gasping for air, but soon I realized that this long week is over. At last I managed to break free from the camp. All the time I spent there like so much longer than 7 days. Seemed like so much longer than 7 days. And now everything is over. Soon after that, events moved with frightening speed. No time left for self-analysis or seeking answers. Moreover, from time to time I completely forgot about the camp. Like anyone who found themselves in a completely strange environment, was completely lost. I had no papers, not even a simple birth certificate, and no skills to earn a living. Professions such as computer specialist or call center operator were not in demand. Lena returned to her normal life. She had to graduate from school and get ready to enter university. The pioneer camp was in the south of the USSR, so just as I'd assumed. Lena lived in a town with a population of about 100K. It was easier to get there by bus from the district center. I managed to find a job. I was employed as a turner's assistant in a factory and was also given a room in a hostel. Over time, this initially difficult and strange job started to bring a certain satisfaction. Partially, of course, it came from having the ability to buy food. Time passed and I climbed up a career ladder, becoming the head of a whole shift. My colleagues were amazed at my talent and persistence, and so was I, okay? Lena graduated from school, and I spent several nights with a calculator, designing diagrams of expenses and income, and at last made up my mind to propose to Lena.
How much is this bitch gonna cost me?
How much she put me under?
Fucking student loans, goddamn.
Kopeyka, Kok is a Russian car. Very cheap. Very cheap and old. Moonlight is a private driver in the Kok rail trap I inherited from my from my father-in-law. We decided to sell the flat and use the money to invest in business. For some time, we lived in luxury, buying mink fur coats and expensive foreign cars, dining in restaurants and taking trips to other countries. Like many others during that time, I had the luck to somehow make it big, starting from the bottom. My business was construction material retail. It was a profitable market at the time because people made excessive money that they wanted to invest in luxurious homes. Maybe such life could have gone on, but the 90s were called rakish for a reason. Rakish? Rakish. After encountering
Rakish.
rackets and corruption, I was left with an empty refrigerator, an empty wallet, and the bitter taste of blood in my mouth.
Huh?
I don't know.
Was he eating people?
That was the time I tried to recall my man from the future status. Betting places that were impossible in the Soviet era popped up all over, and I rushed to gamble on everything I knew. However, I faced new disappointments as matches were won by completely different teams. Even the 1994 World Cup champion wasn't Brazil. When I was just watching football on TV, everything went as it should, but whenever I spent the last of my money to make a bet, even underdogs began phenomenally beating favorites. I don't know how long I would have gone through this torment if not for an event which changed everything. Me and Lena had a child. Hot.
Aw.
The child or having the child?
Both.
Okay.
In a hurry,
Just want to make sure.
I started to search for any possible way to earn enough to provide for a family. I remembered some of my father's old friends, and through them, by pretending to be a distant relative of myself, I gained a place as a junior data analyst in a bank. At the same time, I made a new attempt to obtain my degree, or to be precise, finish it. Time passed slowly. The money was just enough to fill our stomachs. I almost lived at work for days, trying to find some time for my exams. Lena stayed at home with the baby. That was when I started writing. I remember it as if it was yesterday. It was just after midnight and I was sitting in the kitchen in front of my old, worn-out i386, wildly killing monsters in Doom 2. I wanted to sleep badly, but computer games at least slightly distracted me from the infinity of dull days. When I completed another level, I was suddenly immersed in thoughts about everything I'd gone through the last few years. It was all too much for one person. That's when I decided to write everything down that happened to me. I launched the word processor and wrote down about 200 words with the clear intent of continuing it tomorrow. However, I didn't remember it tomorrow, or even a week later. About a month later, Lena, who was typing something on the computer, reminded me of my unfinished book. I reread it and deleted it, terrified. At that moment, I started to doubt if I could ever do it again. After all, it was an entire epic novel, and I wasn't really able to string two sentences together. In addition, it's not easy to write about yourself. Creative work put on the back burner for now. I celebrated the arrival of the year 2K as a certified specialist with department head meetings, duties, Well,
I
moving
don't
to
know.
another. What?
I don't know where you got meetings from.
I'm talking a lot.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
While moving to another apartment, I found my old i386 among the trash that was to be thrown away, and I remembered my intention of writing a book about my life. I laughed. How stupid! However, after some time, I opened my laptop and made a sort of draft of a short story about a young man without a definite occupation or aspirations, who finds himself on a different planet. The style, orthography, and punctuation, as well as the idea itself, were matched well to such a silly plot. I showed the story to my wife. She laughed, but said it was well written and advised me to continue. About a year later, the drawer designated for holding my literary works was full. I found I found that very odd because was spending entire days at work, sometimes even during holidays. I tried to spend all my available free time with my family. However, that's what happened. Around that time, I decided to publish my short stories. As with any other beginner's work, most of mine were rejected, but a couple of them were accepted, including my first work. I was over the moon. Of course, I was paid nothing, but my works will be read, meaning that maybe someone will like them. Probably not, though. Time passed. We had a second baby. During my spare time, I slowly wrote a novel. No, not about life or the pioneer camp. I decided not to touch upon those themes ever again. Everything that happened years ago seemed to be the will of God, whose charity should not be tempted. Who can tell what would happen even if I had woken up in a bus near the Soviet camp gates? A year later, the novel was completed. After I'd annoyed almost all known publishers, I managed to reach an agreement with a small company. The editor, an elderly man wearing a ragged tweed jacket — I don't think you can call people tweeds — thick spectacles which almost rubbed against his magnificent gray mustache, told me, "Your level is average, young man. Average, yes, but the idea itself is interesting. Interesting, yes. Well, you need more practice, and more reading, yes." I remember those words for the rest of my life. I dispensed the copy.
I
Yes.
remember a lot of yeses in the.
80 degrees. Midnight tonight is the start of something new. Tomorrow is the day I was awaiting for so many years. Why? Oh.
What are you thinking about?
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I opened my eyes and saw Lena. Look at how
We have
cocky we
eyes.
look.
We have eyes.
Yeah, I
Oh
know.
yeah, I write books. Oh yeah, he has eyes.
We're so
That
cocky.
sounds weird.
And Lena looks quite queer, but whatever.
We have sideburns.
Yeah, I know. She put a cup of tea on the table near an armchair. Firewood was gently crackling in fireplace, and a snowstorm was roaring outside. I wrapped myself up in a plaid blanket and looked at Lena.
Do you know what day it is? No. What day? Do you remember what I told you back there in the camp? No.
No wonder.
You never listen to me, do you?
You stupid slut. During all these years, I've never brought up the topic of my mysterious arrival in this world.
Do you remember how I told you that I'm not from this world?
Lena paused.
Well, something like that, yes. So today is the day when, many years ago, I got on the 410 bus and woke up at that pioneer camp. Maybe I'll write a novel. You'll read and remember. Do you think that's a good idea?
Lena's expression became serious. Indeed, I once promised myself that I'd never write about it.
Can you not write the part where I punched some chick in the face? Can you get that out of there? Maybe it's not. After all, everything that happened is just for us. That's exactly what I think.
My eyes closed and my whole reality compressed itself down to the crackling of the firewood. I started falling slowly, somewhere far away. No, 'twas not a dream, more like warm ether, gently enveloping my entire existence. Enveloping.
And then I
And
died.
then I died, leaving
The end.
behind a wife and 2 kids.
And a bunch of shitty books.
In a burning house full of penis.
Living the dream, baby.
Oh yeah, baby.
Every story has its beginning and end. Hi, Lena.
Hello.
We got your good ending. We totally did it
Yeah.
without trying.
So we didn't actually bang her then?
No, we banged her.
Yeah, but then we went back?
Yeah, I don't really
No?
know what we went back to.
Did we? I don't know actually.
Like, at what point in time did we? I don't know.
Did we do the deed, or did it not actually happen?
I mean, we did have 2 kids.
No, I mean in the camp bit.
I know, but I have no idea, honestly.
I don't either, actually.
I don't. I think that's up to interpretation. I like this picture, by the way. It looks quite cute. It looks adorable, and it doesn't suck like a lot of the other ones. There's that one. That was pretty cool. I hated it. I hated the interaction, but that's cool.
Oh yeah, it's kind of all over the place.
And this picture's not the best.
That picture's really something.
Her finger.
Is this where we were? No, we were at Genda Square. It's probably gonna show the last picture. Yeah. I'm very happy.
I kind of want an ending where it's like that, where we go through life anyways, but we end up in the exact same spot where we're in a shitty apartment playing video games, but there's just an anime chick with us.
it's the same thing, except we just brought back Eliana.
Yeah. I wish that was like Eliza Bad or something, and we had like 20 kids. They're so loud and annoying, and we're trying to play Doom 2 over here.
we're just about to play Doom. Me too.
I really should get back into learning Russian. Give me something to do.
Flippin' weeb.